stay in the cold. And we'll begin with a call to order for our meeting of community services. On. Glad you're here in the cold, and we'll call to order the community services meeting for December 17th, starting with roll call.
Ms. Weber?
Present.
Ms. Parker? Ms. Polk? Mr. Snipes? Ms. Peters?
Present.
Ms. Dunbar?
Present.
Mr. Fairfield? Mr. Zenz?
Present.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Featherling?
Present.
Mr. Swanson?
Present.
Ms. DiColo?
Present.
Mr. Wheeler?
Present.
Mr. Seroy?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there anyone wish to have public comment today? Okay, well then I have just a couple announcements. One, we're saddened by Michael Jess's passing, but each of us has a story, right? When I first became a new county board member, sitting where I sit now, Mr. Legess came up to me after the meeting and said, you know, you must have a new coat because the tag is still on it. Let me take that off for you. So that's the kind of person he was. Very helpful. He didn't announce to the whole group that I forgot to take my tag, but he's just a special person. Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you. I have to announce officially the opening in County Board District 21, Michael Jess's district. That has to be done officially on the record in a meeting. So, and if people want to know, the wake is Thursday at 4 to 8 at Clancy Gurnan. So that was it, but I had to officially do that. Both political parties need to be notified, and that registered mail's going out today. Thank you.
And after the meeting, we could share other good stories of Michael Jess. Second thing is I thank you for signing the card for Tinker Parker. She is being operated on her back this morning, and I think you've each maybe had a chance to sign it, and we wish her well. The third last announcement is that the pies over on the table are for you and for the department chairs that are here today. So I participated in the I Can Buy a Pie card for $17, and 1/3 of it goes to the truancy prevention program. So they're still selling pies at Baker Square till Friday is or the last time you can do that. But so when each of the persons gives their report, they get to take a pie down to their office and share it with them. And there is all kinds. There's cherry and blueberry and tri-berry and holiday silk and all kinds of things. The name is written on it. Anything that's left afterwards, there could be 3 pies left at the end. We will cut them up and eat them if you're willing to stay and have a piece of pie. So, all right. So you can know how we want to hurry along here then, right? So the minutes of the November 19th meeting were sent to you by email. As anyone, you probably had a chance to look over those. Is anyone moved that would accept those? Mr. Fairfield will move to accept them. The second is where? Mr. Featherling will second. All in favor of accepting the November 19th minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say aye. The motion is carried. Turn off 12. Okay. We have had a request to have the assessor report first because he has a busy day. Is that agreeable to everyone?
He wants the first pie.
That is the truth. So, by consensus, it's okay with everyone. So come on up, and then you can, you know, look over to your right as you pass by to see which one you really want. How many can you carry? 1 is what you can carry. I have a report in your packet. You just turn to that report. The assessor's report is on the 3rd page. Could someone move to accept that report? Ms. Peters and Ms. Dunbar will second it. All in favor of accepting the report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say aye. Motion carried. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just want to start by saying that my thoughts and prayers are with the family of Mr. Legess and family and friends. It's a terrible loss to the board, and I feel really awful about it, but, you know, hopefully it ends his pain and suffering. Along with that, just wanted to thank Carol Weber for the on a much nicer note, thank Carol Weber for the luncheon that she provided on the 9th. That was very nice of you. Thank you very much. I want to get to a couple of things this morning before I head back down for Board of Review meetings. Just let you know what we've accomplished in the last month and what we're looking for toward the end of the year and into a little bit of January. We are going to hold the remaining Board of Review hearings. That'll complete on Thursday. So I kind of listed it as completed, even though we do have one more day after today of that. And I also did schedule the annual meeting with the Township Assessors. That's a statutory requirement that I have an annual meeting with the Township Assessors. The way the schedule fell this year, I wasn't overly happy with when I was going to have it, but it's going to be on December 26th. So, happy holidays to the assessors that have to come in here for a couple of hours, and we'll talk through some things. So those things have been sort of completed for the month. Some things that we're looking forward to. Once the Board of Review issues their decisions on all the hearings, which will conclude, like I said, on Thursday, I'll have to determine determine whether or not any equalization is necessary at the Board of Review level. I don't anticipate that to be the case. We would have to lose quite a bit of value at the Board of Review level, and I don't see that at this point anyway. Once the hearings are completed on the 19th, we do have and again, this is a holiday thing. It doesn't sound too great, but the Board of Review's coming in on Christmas Eve to sign the documents for me to get it all done so that I can get the final abstract documents over to the clerk by the end of the year. So that's happening on Christmas Eve. And then I will schedule a time for DevNet to roll us to 2020 in the system just a little bit after the first of the year, probably, in the first part of that week on January 6th, 7th, 8th, something like that is what I've got kind of planned. And at that point, then we'll be able to generate assessment books for the assessors and get the 2020 assessment year kicked off right after we finish the 19. So it never stops, but we just keep rolling through. With that, I'll open the floor to any questions.
What you are saying is you're on schedule and way nice on schedule.
Absolutely. It's absolutely where I wanted to be from the start of the year. We're getting things done right on schedule.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, folks.
Yep.
Happy holidays.
Next, we'll go to the County Clerk, Dan Hendrickson. And as he's coming forward, we'll ask for a motion to approve his report. Mrs. Polk and Ms. Dunbar will second that one. So you see it listed. All in favor of accepting his report, say aye, please. All opposed, say aye. Motion carried.
Hardest vote you'll have all day today.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I also wanted to extend my condolences to those who are grieving over Mike LaJess. He was a personal friend to myself, to my office, and he was a good and faithful servant to his community, and he will be greatly missed. Also wanted to thank you as well, Carol, echoing Eric's thoughts. Thank you for your generosity in providing the luncheon for us and for, keeping me fat and sassy. So I was sassy way before that. Fat too, but that's a separate issue. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Tomorrow is the first day for people to request ballots for vote by mail for the March 17th primary. Also, tomorrow is the last day that we'll be collecting food for our food drive for the Center of Hope. We'll be taking that over on Thursday. Other things that are on the calendar, December 30th is the last day for boards to adopt resolutions. Presidential candidates and delegates will be filing down in Springfield January 2nd and 3rd, I believe. So we should have what would be close to the final ballot for the primary. in about 3-4 weeks' time.
So that's good. That's good to have
Yes,
such
yes,
an early start.
I'm ready to go. So we start voting at the end of January. So
Mr. Snipes has a question.
So am I hearing that early voting starts the end of January?
we have to have military ballots out the last Friday in January. So technically, I believe we're starting to vote. It's 40 days before the election, so it would be the first Thursday in February when we'll be voting in the office. But we have to have ballots out to our military voters 5 days before that.
No, so early voting starts February 1st, or first Thursday.
First Thursday in February. So a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the voting by ballot, or the ballot by mail means they.
People can request the ballots, and once we start voting, we'll mail those ballots out to those people once we have the completed applications.
Oh, okay.
But we can accept those applications starting tomorrow.
Okay, and how is that registering by, voter registration by mail doing? Where they can vote?
Well, they've been registering to vote by mail for 20 plus years.
Not by
online registration?
Online, yes.
Because we're getting them all through the state's website, we get a healthy chunk through that. I would probably say maybe a fourth of our registrations are through online registration. Typically, where our big numbers are coming from the DMV. What they've done now is anybody who goes to the DMV, they're registering you to vote unless you opt out. So that's historically been about 75% of what we get. And the online, we'll see an online surge when it gets closer to close of registration.
Okay.
But yeah, decent numbers.
Decent, okay.
Anything else? Yeah, Ms. Dunbar.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I apologize, I haven't looked at your website for a while, Dan. Are all those dates up on the website? We could direct people to those?
Not yet, but they will be.
Okay, great. Thank
Definitely
you.
before Christmas.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And then the real driver's license possibly will have some effect in your office.
Real ID doesn't have an impact on us. Really, it's just for people who are traveling or who are flying, and that won't go into effect until October of next year.
Okay, anything else? Good questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much. If I don't, well, we'll probably see each other before then, but Merry Christmas anyhow.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Representative from the Recorder's Office is not here today, but I will make sure that the staff there gets a pie. So let's go to, excuse me,
We have to approve the report.
her report anyhow. Thank you. Okay. Would someone move to approve? Mr. Snipes will move to approve the Recorder's report. Ms. Peters will second it. All in favor of approving that report, say aye. Any opposed, say aye. Motion carried. So, Carrie, in your inaugural report, you get a pie, so come on forward. So we have the animal control monthly report. And let's see, is it in our packet? It is, so it's in your packet. She's bringing a copy of it with her too. 2 pages of it, thank you. I don't think we approved your report, so hold on a second. Mr. Swanson, you want to approve her report? Mr. Eckhoff will second it. All in favor of approving the report, say aye. Any opposed, say aye. Motion carried. Okay, please go ahead.
So the only things I have to report are the sheriff and I met with a couple of the shelters in the area to talk about things that happened in the past, things we want to change in the future. They're all very receptive of our meeting. We're planning a couple meetings in the future. And then the sheriff and I also met with a couple of Bourbonnais last night regarding contracting with them possibly in the future, maybe some other jurisdictions as well. So that's about all I have.
So that was the concern was cooperating with municipalities, cooperating with the shelters, and check. You've done
I
both.
speak very fast, so I apologize for that. So
The other part, as you met with the Animal Welfare Committee, is that what maybe you could update us on the shelter itself, what things that are happening at the shelter.
We are currently looking at improvements for the shelter. The shelter, I'm not sure if you're aware, but it's not in the best condition. I did have maintenance come in last week, and we discussed some things that we want to work on in the future. He said he would be in January, and I'm thinking he'll be there for quite a few days in January working on some things that we had problems with. So yeah, the condition of the shelter is not ideal, but it's working for us currently.
So you can hear the implication of that the shelter will remain open, to
Yes,
confirm,
yes.
and that with the updates of maybe a fenced area or locks or doors or things like that,
Correct.
just to make it more
Safe for the staff
safe.
and, you know, more ideal for the dogs and animals that we have there.
So both things are important, staff comfort and animal comfort, and that's what your goal is there
Our goal
too.
is, exactly.
So any of you had any concerns about the shelter that or the transition, or all things are fine, aren't they? I mean, your
It's
report.
been great. It has been great. Their staff has been great, very receptive of the transition. It's been, I don't have any complaints.
Your matter of fact, I think I heard you say there were openings for positions.
There is an opening for a full-time kennel technician and a part-time clerical, and those have not been filled. We're still looking for employees.
So let's go to the part about the after the usual hours. If someone calls now, is that in place that after the 4 o'clock and the call is to animal shelter? That's not in place yet.
No,
No.
we're still after hours calls. It would still be that. So they work Monday through Saturday, 8:30 to 4:30.
8:30 to 4:30. Okay. And then I guess the last is that because of the experience of Julie Boudreau, you invited her to stay on.
She has stayed on. She's been working with me very well. She's been transitioning with me. It's been great. I have no complaints with Julie at this time. She's been a great transition.
And she has been willing to share her experience and help
Yes,
you out.
yeah.
So that, I think till through parts of January, isn't it?
Correct.
Through the end of January. Okay, is there anything else there? So this is a really positive report, isn't it? There were all kinds of concerns and things, and you've met with the people that have concerns.
We're trying to smooth everything out, get everything, great, work relationships with everybody. We're trying. So hopefully we'll get everybody satisfied in the future with that.
And where in a day's time, what is your split of time? Where do you stay at the?
So currently I am at animal control all the time.
Oh, you are?
So yeah, just because the transition there's been so much to learn. And so I've been there. I check in at the sheriff's office with the sheriff daily, and I've gone in the sheriff's office probably once a week just to try and check in with the team and see everything's going. Just because my job in the previous, there's things that they need to learn. People that took over those in the past need to learn those things too. So.
Okay. Anything else? If she's smiling, she should be. Well, there's a lot to do.
There is,
So she's not smiling all the time, but it's just pleasant. It's just a great situation that's going on, and all that you hope for. I think the sheriff should be happy too with all that you hope for. He did mention he didn't know that would be on his resume at one time, but now
Right.
it is on his resume. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you for your report. And since you're going back to the shelter, they will have the pie.
Okay.
Okay. The Animal Welfare Advisory Committee, the reason I was, is that grilling her or drilling her, is because I just say ditto. That's what we discussed at Animal Welfare on Wednesday, is just the things she's talked about. So that's my report. We have minutes from it. Those minutes say exactly what she said, the upgrades and the working together so well, and the hope for the future and continuing hope. So the only thing I would say other than that we talked about were the feeding of the geese at Bird Park, and the signs are still purchased but not up. But remember, we talked about the menu for the geese. So, and we're thinking of expanding a little bit, maybe to Moments, if the Moments Council would talk about that, because you have birds that are all over on the ground there. Are they being fed bread also there? Oh yes. Okay. Right. So, number 12. All right, number 12. Okay. Anything else? Any other business? Mr. Snipes.
Just one. And this might just be a little bit off, but it's just for clarification. I know at some point back when I was here in the beginning, we had something where we put something out when an individual passed on. I think it would be fitting for Larry, because I believe he's like the second as far as years is concerned, senior person on this particular board. I think George is first. Me and Larry, I know, came on in 1990 back in the day, and he's been here ever since. And so, and then I think I'm the third with about 15 years collaborative. But I think it would just be fitting if there was something. I know the city does it all the time. I don't know what we decided on with the county. Again, we used to say that it had to be, but I don't know if it had changed any. But I think it would be fitting because of who he was. And then again, I share your sentiments and also that of Chairman Willer. I saw his comments in the paper. They would be fitting. Wherever, you know, Mike is going to be. The only thing that I think that I missed, we've been seatmates for a minute, but the thing I missed is that when he says, oh, that's not me, okay. Because my phone sounds like that's better. Oh, okay. But yeah, the only thing I thought was missing or whatever, but befitting, and certainly I might hear it, is where, and in this case, it would be his motion to adjourn. Anybody else do it, he would say it was out of order, you know, until Mike gave his motion to adjourn. And certainly he has met that calling with his final motion to adjourn to a better place. But thanks.
Is that your motion, Mr. Snipes?
Well, no, it was more of a communication as to where we were as far as the putting the adorning the wreath. We just used to have a wreath that we put out when a county official passed, but I don't know how that is. Bunting, but that's what it is. Thank you. It is. I didn't see it.
Okay, so that's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's always good to have the answers before the questions. Isn't that nice? So the wreath, the bunting, isn't it, rather than a wreath? Okay. Ms. Dunbar? Ms. Dunbar?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, Ms. Polk, did you have another something else?
Yeah, I would just like to know, are we gonna take up a collection to send some flowers or something for Mike?
Mr. Wheeler?
There's $168 in the fund, so we're going to expend, it was $140 if it's $5 a board member. So I said, well, 140, we would find something what we could buy for that, and then ask board members to contribute another $5 a piece to get the fund back to where it needs to be, so we don't have to have a meeting to get the $5. Because unfortunately, it's going to happen again someday. So, you know, it's just, we're going to talk about that on Thursday. So there is money, it is ordered. It will go to the wake on Thursday.
Okay, thank you for your comment, and the answer is yes again, that it has been done, and then Thursday when we come, if we haven't had $5 today, it'd be good to bring $5 on Thursday morning. Give it to you or to
Kelly.
Kelly?
They don't give it to me.
That's right, that'll reimburse the fund.
Cabal.
All righty, Ms. Dunbar, go right ahead.
Motion to adjourn?
Okay, second, Ms. Peters, all in favor say aye. If you want pie, stay. If not, see you Thursday. Thank you.